Hey, welcome to Two Old Geeks Talking. I'm Rob,
I'm Trace.
and today we're doing John Wick Part 2, Assassins.
The first one. The first one we talked about John Wick.
Right.
And part two, we're going to talk about other Hitman movies that we like. So I'm a fan of Hitman movies.
Right.
And there's been some fantastic ones over the years, and we'll take a peek at them. And let's see. Let's start with the oldest one first, if I can find it. Let's see. The Killer. Did you ever see The Killer come out in 1989?
I have not.
The Killer is a staple in assassin movies. First of all, it was made by John Woo. He made Hard Boiled. He made Face Off. I think you're familiar with that.
Yep.
And so John Woo thought outside the box, and he really is the one to kind of come up with the concept of gun fu, and the fact that, you know, being Chinese, a lot of martial art movies come from there, and they try to take fight and they try to take a unarmed combat and make it beautiful. So John Woo was like, what if we took a gunfight and tried to make it beautiful? And so that's what he did in The Killer. It's a story of an assassin who he feels guilty about blinding an innocent bystander during one of his hits. And so to make it up for, he's going to take one more hit and make enough money that he can take care of surgery for her eyes. And he comes to blow with a cop trying to stop him. But it's a fantastic movie. It's great. You should check it out. And but like I said, Chow Yun-fat's in it. He was in a whole lot of John Woo movies. And but John Woo, you gotta tip the hat, because he's really the first guy that said, you know what, let's not just do a gunfight, let's make it look good. So
Wasn't Gung Fu in one of the Keanu Reeves movies?
Gun Fu's kind of evolved. You saw it in a movie called Equilibrium, and with who's that Batman guy, Christian Bale. He was in Equilibrium. If you've never seen that.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I mean, they really, the John Wick movies, they take it to another level too. So it's taking a gunfight and trying to make it attractive, and so that really hadn't been done before John Woo. And he's still making movies, but he's making them over in China, and God bless him, because he did a fantastic job with that. So if you ever get a chance to see that, definitely see it. Next movie come out in 1991. It's called La Femme Nikita. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, La Femme Nikita. It's a great movie. I actually saw it at a little theater. It's a French film. See it with subtitles. That's how you want to see it. You want to see it in the original French. But an action director named Luc Besson did that. And it's a story of a girl who's in trouble with the law, and to get out of trouble, she agrees to be trained. And it's got one of the best, that actress, and I'm probably saying this wrong, her name's like Anne Polarod, and I probably murdered that name, but she's got one of the best scenes in there as far as the actress I've ever seen. She's sitting in a restaurant, and she gets a birthday gift from her trainer. And so he's been kind of hard and cold. And so she's really excited, birthday gift, and she opens it up. And she goes from excited, she opens it up, it's a gun with some ammunition. She goes from excited to confused. And all nonverbal, just with facial expressions. And then he says, she finally gets to leave the compound and go out to eat to a nice restaurant. And he said, there's a guy behind you. I need you to wait till I'm out of the restaurant. I need you to murder him. So she goes from being happy to confused to just no emotions, wherever she just clicks into assassin mode. And so that was a great scene. That's a great movie. They've actually did an American version of it called Point of No Return with Bridget Fonda.
Yeah,
it wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't.
And they actually did a series with an Asian actress, which I forget her name, but I watched like the first season, couldn't really get into it. And it was called La Femme Nikita. But if you can find the original French movie, made by Luc Besson, definitely check it out. It's a great one.
I agree.
Great one. And the next one come out in 1994, and if you haven't seen this,
Yeah.
I know you have.
Oh, I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leon the Professional. It was just called The Professional in America, but it's a fantastic movie, made by Luc Besson as well, and it's really the pinnacle of Hitman movies. To me, better than John Wick. To me, better than any Hitman movie. It's a story of a young girl who's mature for her age, who meets an assassin, a hitman, who helps her out, an Italian hitman, who is immature for his age. And so the way that their relationship gels together, it's got a good story. It's got Gary Oldman.
Yeah. I heard that the director or the person who wrote this or came up with the idea was because he was in the same type of relationship. He had a relationship where he was a much older man with a younger girl. This is pushing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I look at it, a lot of people look at it kind of creepy, but I mean, the way I look at it, and I'm actually cosplaying as Leon, and his daughter Brenda is cosplaying as Matilda in the thumbnail for this video, and we did that like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's been a while back.
And
awesome, y'all did awesome.
But to me, yeah, that was great cosplay.
Great.
Yeah, because I mean, Yaya Han, she wanted to get pictures with us,
Right.
and the guys are in a comic book men. People were standing in line to meet them, and they come out from behind the booth and tracked us down to talk to us because they were big fans of the movie. But it's really, really good. In America, it's called The Professional. They cut out some of the violence. They cut out some of the relationship scenes between Leon and Matilda. Nothing sexual happened in the movie. Leon didn't want it to, but it was just a case of an immature grown adult and a mature girl, and so they actually helped each other out. She gave him something to live for, and he helped her during a trying time. So anyway, if you haven't seen that, definitely see it, and we'll get to that later. Okay, tell me about this, man, because this is one of your favorite movies.
Okay, Long Kiss Goodnight.
Mm-hmm.
I know not a lot of people know this movie, but I love Gina Davis. I've loved her in pretty much everything. Now, when I say love, I'm not talking about love. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit my mic. I don't love her like I love my wife, but
It's pretty close, though.
Boy.
Right.
I really like Gina Davis.
He was always a huge Gina Davis. What was the pirate movie she was in?
Oh Lord, was it Pirate Island?
Or something like that. Anyway,
Something
he
like
just
that.
calls them all Gina Davis movies.
Yeah,
but,
Gina Davis
yeah,
part
and
2.
really, she was like a female action star, and there wasn't a whole lot of female action stars going on.
Right.
I mean,
So
yeah.
the premise of this movie is that she had been a hitman and had lost her memory, and she pretty much started living an average American life, and then it all snapped back to her, and so it was really a really cool storyline, and to see her kick ass and the way she transformed from midwife to badass, yeah, good movie.
Yeah, and it's got Sam Jackson in it. Sam Jackson's just the best.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just. I don't think I've seen a bad movie with Sam Jackson in it. And really, the premise of that was kind of, I'm not going to say stolen, but I mean, they used the premise of that kind of in the Born Identity movies. He had amnesia.
This came out first.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Born Identity kind of took it from that, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a great movie. If you get a chance to track it down, definitely do. It's worth watching. I wonder what Gina's doing now. I haven't seen her in a while.
I don't care. As long as she's still out there, I'm happy.
So the next one is The Jackal. It's a movie with Bruce Willis as an assassin, and it came out in 1997. Have you ever seen that?
No, I don't think
It's
I have.
pretty good. It's based on an older movie called The Day of the Jackal, but the Jackal is supposed to be like the best assassin.
Okay.
So somebody witnesses a murder, and to get rid of the witness, they hired the Jackal, which is Bruce Willis, and so an IRA guy they hired to track down the only guy that's really seen the Jackal and knows what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
They hire him to track him down. And but if you haven't seen it, it's pretty good. Bruce Willis made the best assassin in
Really?
that. I mean, cold blooded. I mean, just you could just tell he would do anything to accomplish his mission.
Huh.
If you haven't seen that, yeah, it's great. It's great. And I actually like it better than the old Day of the Jackal, the black and white version. I think it was black and white. It's been so long since I've seen it. But it's like an updated version of that. And really, to be honest with you, the only thing it has in similar with the original movie is just the name and the assassin's name. Other than that, the whole premise is different. They're both good movies, Day of Jackal and The Jackal. So another Hitman movie, which we think is a must, would be Grosse Point Blank. You ever seen that?
I have. It's been a while back, and I only seen it the one time.
Yeah, it's a good comedy. You don't see too many Hitman movies as comedy. John Cusack, he plays an assassin who has to do a hit. It just happens to be in the area that his high school reunion's at. So he goes to his high school reunion. Dan Aykroyd plays a rival assassin. And I've been in martial arts pretty much my entire life. And there's a fighter I always liked and idolized back in the day. Before UFC, when we were just kickboxing, his name was Benny Urquidez. He plays the bad guy. And Benny, he's awesome. He's awesome. I mean, his fight moves. He did the fight moves for Roadhouse.
Okay.
And they're real realistic, real brutal. And I think Benny had 60 fights, never lost one of kickboxing. And he was in a Jackie Chan movie called Mills on Wheels. And he just told Jackie to really hit him. He said, I'm used to getting hit. He said, instead of us trying to make this look real,
Jackie could really put the
he
hurt
said,
on
just
somebody.
go ahead and hit me. And so they beat the crap out of each other during the movie. But yeah, definitely check out that. It's especially if you're not into hardcore action. It's got some action in it, but it's mainly a comedy. So you'll definitely like that. And then the last one I have is Road to Perdition. Now, Road to Perdition had Tom Hanks in it. Also had Paul Newman, Judd Law. It come out in 2002. And a lot of people don't know this. It was based on a comic book. A lot of people kind of poo-poo away comics and think they're all superheroes. But a lot of comic books are made into movies. And all comics aren't about superheroes. Road to Perdition kind of had a lone wolf and cub feel.
Oh, yeah?
Where he's trying to protect his son. Have you ever seen it?
Lone Wolf and Cub, yes.
No.
If
you ever get a chance, it's set in 1940s, but I love 1940s. I love the style and the way the men dress, the way women dress, the cars, the music. I love 1940s. And I love Hitman movies, and I like Tom Hanks, so that was kind of a no-brainer.
I like Robert Redford.
Yeah, so I mean, if you get a chance to see that, see it. But like I said, it's based on a comic book series, and it's a real good story. And let's see, as far as some other Hitman-related stuff, first of all, for Leon, I'm such a Leon fan, and your daughter is too. I made me a custom Leon years and years and years ago. There wasn't a Leon figure, so I wanted one. So I found a guy that did a sculpt for me of the head on eBay. And the jacket is like an old Matrix jacket. The vest he wears, I actually cut apart some stuff and made it myself. His briefcase he carries is from an Irish Spring soapbox that I cut up and painted.
Now, what about the gun?
The gun, and the grenades and some of the other stuff come from some other characters. His glasses are actually from a Benjamin Franklin figure, and his hat is from a work glove from work. I cut the thumb out of it and made his hat. So, and I made a custom little stand for him. So I'm kind of proud of that Leon figure.
Right.
This always happens when you make a custom figure. About 10 years after I made that, a company started making Leon figures.
Was it a good figure?
Oh, fantastic.
Really?
I think it was called Interbay or something like that. Interbay made some figures, but if I hadn't already made one, I would have bought it.
Right.
But there's no way I could buy one and enjoy it as much as this one because all the time I spent trying to put it together. And so, but yeah, it's a great figure if you get your hands on it. It's like $300-400. Yeah, crazy. And are there any other Hitman movies that you liked or Hitman games that you liked?
Of course, the video game Hitman.
Oh, I have it right here. How many of them have you played?
I have never played Hitman.
But you like them?
Well, I like the premise.
Oh,
You had them, of course.
yeah.
And I played a little bit of it, but it seemed like I was no good at it because if you didn't do certain things a certain way, leave a gun in the back of a toilet, or you didn't do everything just so, you kept failing.
It's a stealth video game, and it originally came out on the computer, and it was called Hitman Agent 47. If you look back at those graphics, it was horrible, but we're talking probably 20 years ago.
Right.
And
they made a movie after it.
Yeah. I think the movies was the first one was kind of bad, and then the second one was absolutely horrible.
Oh, okay.
But the video games are great, and especially the original video games. And there's been several of them: Blood Money, Absolution, Hitman Agent 47, and then they had 1 and 2 where they renumbered them. But the original one was just called Agent 47. And there was one level where you had to fight all these Yakuza guys, and just come in after a hard day of work and just load it up and fight a bunch of, assassinate a bunch of Yakuza guys. It's like stress relief. It was stress relief.
And that's PS3, right? Was it ever on Xbox?
It was on the Xbox. I think they had them for PlayStation. I'm not 100% sure, but they're good games. And if you ever get a chance to play them,
I'm going to mention a game, Assassin's Creed. Not going to go deep into it, but it has to do with assassins. I've played the first 3, and that's about as far as I've got. They're getting ready to release Assassin's Creed Viking. I will definitely get that. Basically, it's got to do. A reason I liked it was because it had to do with lineage and building up a backstory and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I played some of the Assassin's Creed games, and they're fun.
I got an assassin game you probably never heard of called Wet.
No.
You're a female assassin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it's actually done pretty good, and it reminds you of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, yeah, I love Quentin Tarantino.
You have next time you're over, I have to let you play.
Yeah, I definitely have to do that. And but yeah, as far as assassin games, Hitman is probably one of the best ones. I don't like some of the new ones. They've the first ones, like you said, you had to figure out how to do the assassination, and there was multiple ways of doing it. This one, they kind of lead you down a rabbit trail, drop little breadcrumbs, so they almost make it too easy. And to me, I ignore all their hints, and but what you do, you're given a mark, somebody to take out, and then you have to find out their patterns, where they're at, where they eat, and then what's available. Sometimes you get searched for weapons in certain areas, so you kind of have to use your imagination to be able to complete the assignment. It was pretty good. So as far as comics, there was a comic put out by DC, and I'm not a DC fan.
I am.
But you are. And but it was called Hitman, and it was made by Garth Ennis, who's popular. You guys probably know him from The Boys, the series on Amazon. But Garth Ennis, he wrote this series and John McCree did the art, and it was called Hitman. It was like the most unsuperhero comic you could do. It was just a regular guy. He had little superpowers, but he had X-ray vision, and but they didn't touch on that too much. But it was a series he wrote back several years ago, and I really, really, really liked that comic book series. Just on a joke and on a hunch. I mean, just on a joke, Marvel come out with a kind of a stupid premise, but sometimes something so stupid is good.
Right.
It's called Hit Monkey, and it's about a monkey who's trained to be an assassin. I know that sounds stupid, and the reason it sounds stupid because it is.
Right.
And but for some reason, I like.
Not just any monkey.
I'm
a cat.
I'm not a big fan of monkeys, but I am a big fan of Hitman movies. And you are too. So did you? I think you read these too.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I liked it too. It was goofy.
They killed his family.
Yeah, the story is an assassin gets killed and his ghost comes back and trains a monkey how to be an assassin, and the monkey takes revenge for him. Totally plausible.
Right.
But anyway, the cool thing about this is Robert knew how I liked this little unheard of comic, and whenever the kids finally got out of the house and I started making me a geek room, he made me a hit monkey. I mean, when I'm talking about he made it from scratch. And I mean, he put that thing together. I mean, this is how talented this guy is.
This is actually a puppet.
Art-wise. I mean, he put that together and made a puppet just out of stuff you buy at a craft store.
I carried this around for...
Tell me about it, man.
How many hours did I carry this around at a Comic-Con with my arm bent up holding that thing?
Yeah,
It was
probably
like
three
or 4 hours straight. And yeah, just basically made it look like the comic. Had this little thing. Of course, you had to have the orange barrel so people knew it wasn't a real weapon.
What keeps you from taking a real weapon and painting it orange on the end?
Made sure I had his eyes, but nobody ever got to see those. Just made it look like the comic book.
How'd you, how you make this foam, though? How you do that?
It's actually foam cut out of a piece of foam sculpted with a electric knife, kind of scissors, and then took scissors and just slowly just whittled it down, and then put a silicone skin. I put silicone and mixed flesh tone in it, and you've got a certain amount of time to just smooth it over top of it. And it's probably got 3 or 4 layers. So like I said, yeah, it's a puppet. It can move. And it was fun to make.
Yeah, he made it for me about 5 years ago, and to kind of celebrate me finally getting my geek room, where I got to take all my geek stuff out and actually put it up on the wall and stuff once the kids were out and I had room inside the house. But like, yeah, my artistic ability is about like that.
Oh, no.
His artistic ability is about like that. but anyway, but I think we're done. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm done. Are you done?
Okay, all right. All right, I think we're done.
All right, have a good one.